Thank you very much. This is my fourth time to come and visit with you. I'm very, very excited to see the development that has happened. If you'll see on the screen, this is last year. Who was here last year? Last year for the conference. So you'll see this is a photo from last year's conference where I presented on the International Property Markets Scorecard. You remember? On your table, or I have a business card here with the Property Markets Scorecard website. So on this website is the scorecard for Ghana, because you as professionals need to understand how your market works and functions as far as property rights, access to credit, those types of things. It's also the scorecard for Kenya. There are multiple scorecards. So please take time, get the card, and visit the website, because this will explain to you how property markets work. And like the last speaker said, and understand what investors are looking for. So we have to know what the investors are looking for. This is when I was here the second time in 2019, teaching a course on how you understand what an international investor is looking for. So during this course, what we talk about is we say you, as a professional in Ghana, are talking to exactly the people that were just in the last presentation. We're talking about an investment fund, and this investment fund has $500 million. And they want to invest it somewhere. And they want to invest it in 2 different countries. And so where do you think they should invest it? In Ghana, right? And the investor says, well, I'm sorry, but I need at least 2 or 3 different countries to diversify my investment. So what we did in the course is we go through the investment criteria that people are looking for, and then we say, you should put, the class, you should put 80% of your money in Ghana and 20% of your money in another country. But you have to say what you're specifically going to put that money toward, right? And it's not gated community condos. It's about how you, as the experts in your country, start to promote your country as a safe investment. When I first started coming to Africa, I go one more, it was here. Of course, I first started coming to Africa by the invitation of who? Grepa. This was 2018 when I first came. And we had the projects, which is what we're going to do today. So if you're not sitting at these tables, you're a loser. Move up, move up, move up, move up. So what we did is we did group projects. And we say, how do you learn? How do you learn? You can have a teacher, but you don't learn from a teacher. Bingo. You learn by doing. You learn by doing. Right? So, is everybody ready? I'm going to speak to you today as your father. And the first promise that I'm going to make to you is to always support your mother. That's me. That's me taking responsibility. Next comes you. It is time for you to grow up. How do you know when you're grown? Not when you can support yourself, no. When you can support someone else. You are grown, and it's exactly right. Many, many people never grow up. What did Bishop Eric say? Grabbing, grabbing, grabbing. When I take responsibility and you take responsibility, we are more powerful. And then what happens? We have taken responsibility, and we become a community. If you go to the villages, they're a community already. They understand it. This is not something foreign to you. It's not something foreign to anybody. But the idea here is me, you, we make a community. And then what do communities make? There's a step in between. Cities. Communities make cities. I'm out of space here, but I'm going to put it in here just a minute. Cities. The second promise that I will make to you is if we follow this process, we will be able to implement the SDGs. So you now do what I did, and you take responsibility, and then you convince someone else, and then we make a community, and then we make a city. Right? Not complicated. So what we're going to do today, we have 6 tables. Come forward if you're not at one of the tables. So here, we're going to build something. Each table is going to build something. So here we have Legos, right? So each table is going to get their Legos, and what you need to do is you need to build something. If you got your Legos, start. Build something. What are you going to build? So by the way, of course, this is a kit that came with instructions, but you don't get the instructions. What you're doing right now is acting as a community, working together. So what you're finding, right, is you got a lot of pieces. Do you need all those pieces? Right? Do the pieces tell you what they want to be? Or do you tell the pieces what you want them to be? Extra. Uh, now, uh, there's another possibility here, right? You could negotiate with another table, right? And you could say, we don't have this piece. You might have some pieces that we'd like to, right? So, do you need, maybe there's a piece that you need that somebody else has at another table. Go with my marker. Exactly. And you can also not let people look at you. Right. We have finished. So this table already has theirs finished. It's a headless man. That's okay. Okay, in the interest of time, everybody please take a seat. So what you're looking at, going back again, me, you, we build a community, and a city is made up of communities. We talked about teaching young people. Legos are what young people have. What happens is we get older, as was said earlier, we get set in our ways, and we lose the challenge of creating something from what already exists. We think that the rules are already made. We forget that everything is made of very, very simple building blocks. It's not complicated at all. What happens is we make it complicated. We take a decision. It was interesting as I watched you. Some of you take the decision that I'll figure this out. I can make something from these pieces. And some of you decide that, I don't know what. Not doing it. This is key to what we're talking about. I don't know that this was labeled such, but this is Transformation Day. This is how we transform where we are to where we're going to be. And so, my job as your father is to make sure that as you grow up in the right way. So here's World Urban Forum. I was just in Poland at the World Urban Forum, UN Habitat World Urban Forum in Poland. Over 11,000 people who were interested in sustainable development were there. Many, many people from Africa, as you saw from the UN presentation. It's the developing economy, it's the emerging markets that really need the support. It was just incredible. In the midst of war, in the midst of pandemic, in the midst of fires and floods, in the midst of the attacks on our Mother Earth, we all got together and said, we can solve this. We are bigger than the problem. Talk about mindset. We are bigger than the problem. We are going to stop grabbing and start helping. That's why we're here. So, there's me. So we did a presentation on affordable housing. This young woman next to me is from Puerto Rico. She's building container homes in Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico was ravaged by a hurricane, and then what happened? Earthquake. So to this day, 80% of the homes in Puerto Rico have a blue tarp on them, if there's a home at all. And so this young woman said, you know what? Every single day, a huge container ship lands in Puerto Rico full of containers, and every single one of those containers leaves Puerto Rico empty. She said, you know what? We can make houses out of those containers. Did she get a grant from the IMF? Did she go to the World Bank? And she couldn't have anyway. It wouldn't have done her any good. The solutions to your problems are right here. As we said, transforming our mindset. All right, are you ready? You got your paper and pen? You need to draw 3 lines around your center of your page. And I'm going to ask you to rate each of these companies. Is this company good for the world, neutral, or bad for the world? Three choices. First, Amazon. Is Amazon good for the world, neutral, or bad for the world? Google. Good for the world, neutral, bad for the world. Walmart. Do you have Walmarts here? Good. I was trying to, you don't need them, but anyway. ICBC. Do you know what ICBC is? Tell us what ICBC is. Yes, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Between JP Morgan Chase and Industrial Commercial Bank of China, one is the largest bank in the world. Right now it happens to be JP Morgan Chase. Sometimes it's, depending on the day, it's the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. How about the oil, Total Oil? Oil companies good for the world, neutral, or bad for the world? How about Guinness Ghana? Good for the world? Friday. Bad for the world? How about MTM? In. Right? Good for the world? Bad for the world, or neutral? EcoBank? Soccer. How about the soccer? Okay. So now, how did you make your decision?
Based upon my knowledge of these different organizations
Yep.
and their global impacts on the communities that we live in.
Well, you made the decision based on you first.
Oh, well,
Do I know this company? But in reality, companies are neutral because they are made up of who make decisions, and those decisions are made by the inputs they get from the consumer, right? So what happens is, again, this mindset that somehow these companies have something that we didn't give them. Somehow we think these companies have something that we didn't give them. Right? So what happens is we think that Amazon is so powerful because they did something. Amazon is so powerful because we did something. Right? Turn it around. When I first started working at the Appraisal Institute in Chicago, if I'm your father, I have to be certain I age right. In 1998, Amazon started as a bookseller, online bookseller. And I was helping to promote textbooks. Amazon lost money for 15 years. Now, it's the top of the world. I will tell you, when you look at the Fortune 500, there's some good news. Maybe good news, maybe not. But it used to be the oil companies and the military companies that were in charge. McDonnell Douglas, Lockheed Martin. They haven't gone away, but there has been a huge paradigm shift that's happening all around you. So the key here, Daily Graphic. Right? Media, we used to call it the fourth estate. The media, you actually have newspapers here. In the United States, we don't even have them anymore. There's no such thing. Here's a choice. we're making today with the SGDs and with our choice, with what we do. You know, one of the things I do when I check into a hotel room, I turn the refrigerator off. Nothing in it, and yet it chugs along. You know what most people do, how they flush their toilets? With drinkable water. Why? So when you see these new developments and they talk about gray water and talk about collecting rainwater, and so this change is happening. We have a choice. Are we going to live in this planet over here, or are we going to live in that one over there? Well, here's the reality. We already live in this one over here. We already live in this one over here. Our job is to make sure that we move back, because the earth will regenerate. We don't have any problems. That's not the issue. As has been talked about, and what an incredible week we've had about putting all these inputs into your mind. But the choice is this. And it seems like we're pretending, but we're not. We're not pretending. So, as Michael said, the West has made a lot of mistakes. You, as a developing nation and a developing continent, don't make those same mistakes. Don't, because we all want to go out after that Nike tennis shoe. Because we've been conditioned by the corporate players. But the corporate players know how to condition us because we allow ourselves to be conditioned. It will take hard work to bring together the leaders of business, government, and non-governmental organizations to ensure that private sector incentives and social needs are harmonized. This is from Jeffrey Sachs. The book is called Commonwealth. So what we have here today is something this week that almost never happens anywhere on the planet. I guarantee you that businesses and government officials and not-for-profit organizations rarely sit at the same table. We did that last year. We're doing it this year. Because if we don't hold these companies accountable, as we keep saying these things over and over again, the metrics, compliance, all of that stuff, it is up to us. We're the ones that have to, and particularly GREPA. That is the reason we have it. As has been alluded to over and over again, government is government. Government is waiting for you to lead them. Government is waiting for you to lead them. The private sector is waiting for you to reward social needs, reward harmonization of what our society needs as opposed to profit. And so we are definitely going to make that happen. We are definitely going to make that happen. I want to make another promise to you. Anybody see my black pen? Friction. Friction. The government institutes friction into the system. Right? You heard the presentation Monday or Tuesday, 96 stops between here and the coast. Checkpoint, security, friction. Systems, friction. If there's a friction in the system does not operate efficiently. In real estate, the more friction there is in the transaction, the longer it takes to get the permit, the longer it takes to get the land use, the longer it takes to get the mortgage. Actually, you can't get one. The longer it takes for you to save up a little money, the longer it takes for you to buy 20 bags of concrete. Friction. What is the opposite of friction? Opposite of friction. Thank you, correct. Actually, to be grammatically correct, it's smoothness. Oh, here's my black pen. Smoothness. Friction. You will make money when you find something that has friction in it and you help it smooth out. Now, of course, what does the policeman say about the ticket? That'll smooth it out, right? Just want to make sure I'm not talking about that.
Well, don't worry, we didn't get that.
Yeah, exactly. So the system has friction. You can make money if you help smooth it out. And that can be just as simple as helping somebody find their property. It can be as simple as helping somebody find the furniture to go. You already do that. You already help to remove the friction by making it smooth. What's the other thing that friction does? Creates heat. Creates heat. Right? So our systems have too much friction in them. So we need to smooth them out because, and this is, philosophical and metaphorical, but it's a reality in your situation. If you can help someone realize, because where does this friction come from? It comes from the actions we take. We take actions that make our lives more complicated every single day. Think about it. Turn it around. How can we make things smoother? Right? Another word, actually, Michael talked about it when we were having the currency conversation. Value. What's the opposite of value? Waste. You do not want your client to say, I have wasted my time and my money with you. You want to, again, none of these things are rocket science. I'm just a guy. You want to add value. Again, not complicated. But it is what we want to do, and what I hope to set out here on Transformation Day, is that all of this information that's coming into you over these few days, you have to distill it down into what you are going to do. So, thinking in the future tense. Another book. So, Commonwealth by Jeffrey Sachs. You should have known there'd be homework, right? Read it. Thinking in the Future Tense by Jennifer James. This book was 90. So what happens is, in times of conflict, in times of anxiety, in times of why can't Ghana take the next step, it means there, as was said before, an opportunity There is a window that is open for you. There are more windows opening every day because it's quite clear that the systems that have functioned in the entire planet no longer function. And so just like our little exercise, we have to start with the pieces that we have. We have to start with our community. We have to start with our own self-reflection. What am I doing? And by self-reflection, I do not mean a selfie. I started, because sometimes you do this exercise with a mirror, you look in the mirror and I say, oh, I'll just have them all look at their phones. No, anyway. Starts with you deciding something and then reaching out to someone else and getting them to come along. And then we build a community, and then we build cities. And we start to reduce the friction that is warming our planet. By the way, it's also hardening your arteries. We smooth it out. And then we add value. Because we don't want to waste our time and our lives. I'm going to close with a quote from Maya Angelou. In this book, by the way, Jennifer James, this is Maya Angelou. Humans are wonderfully different and marvelously alike. Human beings are more alike than unalike. Whether in Paris, Texas, or Paris, France, we all want to have good jobs where we are needed and respected and paid just a little more than we deserve. We want healthy children, safe streets, to be loved, and to have the unmitigated gall to accept love. If we are religious, we want a place to perpetuate God. If not, we want a good lecture every now and then. And everyone wants some place to party on Saturday night. Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
One.
Well,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for him again. Just a little more, not too much, just a little more than what you deserve. Just a little more. We are not that greedy. All right, so any questions?
This is not a question. This is for us to say a very big thank you to Bill. So Bill Endsley, I would say, is one of the first people that got us here. And so I want to use this opportunity to say very thank you to you. We really appreciate it. Bill started us with GREPA. He has given us the roadmap to follow. He gave us our first code of ethics, our bylaws, and has been in this way every day. He's been coming to Ghana. This is the 4th time he's been here. He's supporting us. And to tell you the truth, he has not asked us a dime. Thank you very much, Bill. And I hope to see you again. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, any more commentary, any more questions? Bill is right here with us. Anybody, please, just wave at me. I'll bring the microphone to you. Oh, no, we're good. Please, let's do it for her. Oh, you already asked some questions? Not this one. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else?